Mars, beyond. And I, for one, it is my dream to visit Jupiter's ocean moon, Europa. Leland, you're one of the lucky Earthlings that's had the opportunity to get off the planet and go explore. Where would you like to go next?
Lauren, I think I would like to go to Mars and, be there for, about a year each way and then a year on the Martian surface. But the one condition I would have, my pups would have to go with me because it's about exploring new places, but taking your family with you. We have these crewmates that are people that you get to know and love, over a course of training, but it's nothing like having your family with you. And I think that's something that we're going to be seeing in the future, people living and working on other planets as a family.
I think there are a lot of people who want to see your dogs with you in space.
Well, we've seen them in an official portrait. I know that the dogs came in with you to take a picture in your spacesuit back in the day.
Yeah,
there it is.
Well, we kind of snuck them in. No dogs allowed at NASA.
Pete.
Well, they had their moment.
They sure did.
And knowing that the opportunity to fly to space as a private citizen or a private dog maybe one day is right around the corner, we have a new poll question on Twitter for you. So if you were given the opportunity, would you travel to space? Let us know, and we'll share the results a little bit later.
I can see you, Pete. I know you can't
Hi,
see
Dave.
me.
Right, well, there
I know you can't see me.
lot of cargo.
Oh, I can. You're down in the corner. I can see you.
Can you hear the feed that I'm showing?
Very, very faint.
Quiet, faint. Okay. I'm gonna see if I can fix that.
All right. Now, while there's not a lot of cargo in today's mission, Dragon is carrying two special payloads, aside from Bob and Doug, of course.
We got an hour and 15 minutes, huh?
Series of custom art
Yeah,
pieces
I actually didn't plan to start
Humankind
it for
by
another
Los Angeles
15 minutes.
artist Tristan Eaton.
Yeah, I understand.
These
I might have to go out
indestructible
anyway.
double-sided paintings
Yeah, that's okay.
are
You
made
come in
from
and out.
gold,
That's
brass,
cool.
and aluminum.
I'm probably gonna do that too because
humanity has come, as well as how far we
I have to
still
stand up
to
every
go.
so often.
It includes a beautiful homage to the Saturn V
I'm an old guy.
as well
I can't
as
sit down
know.
for
to Bob
3 hours
Dylan's
straight or however
ride to
long this thing's gonna
space.
take.
You can find more images and information about these
How's the
pieces
weather
on SpaceX's
back
social
there, did they
channels.
say?
Next, in the
It
spirit
looked
of
pretty
inspiring the next generation
marginal,
of
but
explorers, we wanted to
and
celebrate
they
the
sounded
class
like
of
they were
2020,
somewhat skeptical
from
about the
kindergarten
launch,
all the
but
way through graduate
I haven't heard
school.
anything official
SpaceX and
that's
NASA
negative
invited
about it yet.
students from
Sounds
around
like
the
it's good to
world
go.
to submit
About
their
2
photos to
hours
fly
ago, I
in
heard
America's first human
60%
spaceflight
chance
in nearly
good.
a decade.
Okay.
Each graduate's
the
photo
weather
was
will
used to
hold.
create a mosaic image of the planet Earth,
I'm just going to
which
turn
we
off their
printed.
audio. I'm going to try to figure this out. There's a way to change my audio. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm getting the toner. Select the speaker, test speaker, and microphone.
What's that thing in the upper right-hand corner?
The NASA logo?
Oh, is that what it is? I thought maybe a UFO or something.
Yeah, they have a logo on the screens.
Oh, okay.
You could actually, if you go to their website, wow, I injured myself. If you go to their website, they actually have I should send that out too. They have a stream you can watch. It's basically a YouTube live stream.
Oh,
And that's what I'm watching right now.
okay. Nobody else is on but you and I?
Yeah, we're the first two. Well, I guess it isn't really supposed to start for another 15 minutes.
Okay.
I saw you were waiting. It said, someone is waiting. I was like, oh, okay.
I didn't wait long.
No, I know. You just clicked. And it told me you were waiting, so I thought, okay, I'll start it. Whatever.
Yeah.
No reason not to. I just had lunch.
That's what I'm waiting for.
So it was pretty boring so far. I mean, they talk an awful lot, and but it was interesting to see some of the. I watched, last 40 minutes or so, on and off, and they were checking seals. After they got the guys in the crew capsule.
Check the O-rings.
They're checking the O-rings, checking the. They were too. They actually were. They actually physically look at them, and then they do a pressure test. It was kind of interesting. They had like 5 technicians, to do a job that one person could easily do.
Yeah, they double check each other, triple check each other.
Exactly.
Are these guys going to go to the ISS or just in orbit?
Oh, Yeah, no, they're going to the ISS. They are going all the way up. Yeah, I read about it yesterday.
Is that William Shatner?
It is William Shatner.
Captain Kirk.
Captain Kirk's talking.
Thanks. I'm tied in a knot. Can't wait for you to get back safely.
Oh, that was loud.
This is the first time a U.S.-built rocket has taken people into...
He's okay. Whoops, I can't stop it. How do I refresh this so it goes?
Got me.
Yeah, I'm probably just hitting the refresh button. I'm going to put it on the wrong screen, but that's cool. There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying trying to figure all this out when I've never really done it before. I've got to turn off Outlook because it keeps making noise. My computer, it's frustrating because I've got it set to mute the system sounds, but I'm still hearing them. It's really weird. I don't know why exactly, but...
I think Zoom is still troubleshooting a lot of their bugs.
Yeah. There's no doubt. I did the YouTube live stream as well.
These spacesuits are really different, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They look much more modern.
Yeah.
I like the... it looks about the same. I mean, remember the really tight quarters.
Yeah.
Tight quarters there. I think I'd get a little claustrophobic. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
I'd have to have glasses too because I can't see things that are that close really clearly.
Mm-hmm. Well, luckily for you, they won't accept you.
I know. That's true. Too many problems. I'm too old, for one thing. I'm not too old to be president, though.
You know, you're one of
I'm
the youngest
rather
guys
young.
in the club.
Yeah. Not to be... Yes.
Oh, is that... Oh.
They got people chiming in from everywhere. It's kind of like a virtual thing there.
And thousands of people have poured their lives into this program to launch probes to the planets, to launch the Hubble Space Telescope.
Well, I'm going to cut out, Dave.
Okay.
Space Station.
We're going to have lunch now.
So you knew the
Okay.
incredible
Okay, talk to you.
accomplishments of this program.
Okay,
You wanted
talk to you
to
later,
finish
Pete.
strong. And then when it finally became launch day, you'd finished the study and you'd worked really hard, and now it was time to kind of soak it in. And I think that's what Bob and Doug are doing right now. They're sitting on the vehicle, talking to each other, listening to the
They
sounds,
look nervous.
and feeling the vibrations as it starts up. And
Me?
it's going
No.
to be it's
Oh,
going to be a great
you're still there.
experience for them.
No, I was saying they look nervous, the
Hey,
crew.
Rex, what
They're
is your
fidgeting.
take on private astronauts going to space?
I think it's great. I think the more we can do to commercialize space, to make access easier, the better we are. And I think that's part of this whole program. You get the cost down, then more people can afford it. And you get the cost down, you can do more things in space, more science, more research. And it is a transformative experience to fly in space, and I wish more people could see that. When you look out on the planet, like Lehman was talking about earlier, with different
This
countries
way.
all around the world, it gives you different perspective. It gives you a perspective that we're all crewmates on this planet Earth. And we kind of get that now with the pandemic. We understand that we're all in this together. And that's what the space program does. And I
Stop
want to see
the
more people
echo.
get a chance to see the Earth from that vantage point. And I think it'll bring us all closer together.
Hey Rex, a very serious question here. The worm or the meatball?
An echo.
I saw you dissing the worm earlier. How can you do that? The worm is awesome. I'm so glad to have a NASA worm insignia back. It's great.
All right, well, thank you very much, Rex. We appreciate you. And as we watch Bob and Doug there in the capsule, we are an hour, 10 minutes, 57 seconds and counting from launch, and we're going to send it over to Hawthorne for an update. Jesse?
The stream wasn't supposed to start for another 10 minutes.
Thanks, Marie. We're just an hour and 13 minutes away
13 minutes.
from launch, and things are really getting ready to pick up here. Since arriving at the spacecraft, Bob and Doug were helped by our closeout engineers to get into their seats, attach their suits to special umbilicals that provide breathing air,
Okay.
shocks, and a
I may as well
communication
make
link
it so
to Dragon
exit the
system.
full screen. Let's
They
do
conducted leak checks which were successful and communications checks with the core here in Hawthorne, which is the person who will speak to them directly throughout the entire mission, as well as the launch director in Florida. This is where they are checking their comm path through both ground stations and
Oh, I never started the
tracking and
stream.
data relay satellites
Oh,
that
it did
will
start
use to
automatically,
talk to the
that's
crew
right.
the entire way to the station.
Good.
Right, and after those suit checks were complete, the closeout team was able to
Is there anybody
seal the
watching?
hatch, which also got its own leak check, and we confirmed that it was good to go. The closeout
Nope.
team at this point has already departed the area around the pad. They're about 25 minutes ahead of their schedule, and right now weather operators are kicking off their final check on wind speeds at the pad, which are going to be used, and they're really important for that final go-no-go for launch. Before we get to that final go-no-go, various teams at both NASA and SpaceX are going to do some internal go polls, just making sure conditions are good with Falcon 9, the Dragon, the crew, the range, and the space station before the final go is given. So let's check back in with Houston real quick for a status on the team there supporting the space station on their readiness for launch.
Mission Control Houston, led by Flight Director Zeb Scoville, has been polled, and we're go for launch. All systems on board the station that are required to be healthy for the mission are reported good, and we're standing by. Station condition normal, and the trajectory is meet right up with the orbiting complex as planned. Chris Cassidy aboard the International Space Station is finishing up some tasks, going into his pre-sleep period, and will be able to watch the launch of Bob and Doug. Mission Control Houston will largely be in the monitor mode for the first 18 hours of the flight, with the team here really jumping into the mix tomorrow when Dragon gets in range of the International Space Station and
Hello,
we begin
everyone.
integrated operations. So I'll send it back. Everything's green on our board from the International Space Station. Go Falcon 9, go Dragon, and Godspeed to Bob and Doug.
All right, thank you, Gary. If you are just now joining us, you picked a really good time because we are 1 hour, 8 minutes and counting away from launch. And this is our coverage for this mission known as Demonstration Mission 2 or Demo-2. Liftoff time still holding for 4:33 p.m. Eastern, tracking no issues with Falcon 9 or Dragon, and we're still waiting for that weather to hopefully cooperate. We're still tracking a few things like precipitation and flight through clouds. We're hoping that clears within the next 20 3 hours. Our crew members, Doug Hurley and Bob Benkin, donned their SpaceX suits in the historic crew quarters suit-up room and made their way out to Launch Pad 39A. They walked out of the crew quarters building just as every astronaut to fly from this spaceport has done since Apollo 7. They were transported to the pad where the crew now on board the Crew Dragon spacecraft, and we're continuing to get views of them inside that cabin live.
Today is a historic launch. It will be the first time a commercially built spacecraft will launch people into orbit, and the first time since the U.S. has sent people to the space station from American soil since 2011 with the retirement of the Space Shuttle program. Over the next hour, we will conduct a series of polls to get ready for launch, have Bob and Doug arm the launch escape system, and begin fueling Falcon 9. Launch is set for 4:33 p.m. Eastern. This will include a 12-minute flight to orbit and then a 19-hour
Regular crew flights to the space station.
And we've been hearing a little from the crew on board Dragon, which they are currently strapped into their seats, as you can see on your right screen. They're already through their seats, or their screen. They're already through their seats, or they've already been strapped into their seats, and through communications and leak checks, they're able to follow all the milestones still ahead on those displays just above them that you can see there.
Go ahead. Yeah, we're going to equalize the pressures in the common manifolds just to raise them a little bit. So we will be momentarily cycling the tank isolation valves. Just wanted to let you know for awareness.
Just wanted to take a pause to listen into the nets.
Okay, we appreciate that, Jay.
So they'll be getting insight into all of the Dragon and Falcon 9 systems as we proceed towards launch. At T-minus 1 hour and 7 minutes, let's check in with John Insprucker for a status update on both of those vehicles. What's the update, John?
Well, the good news is we've had a smooth countdown this afternoon. SpaceX team is working no technical issues on either the Falcon 9 or the Dragon spacecraft. For the Falcon 9, operators have they're actually still in work. They're going to complete in a few minutes propulsion checkouts that are being done on both the first and second stages. The team will be assessing their launch readiness with a final go, no-go poll. That'll come at T-minus 45 minutes, and that'll be followed by propellant loading starting at T-minus 35 minutes. Now, earlier today, Dragon operators performed a series of checkouts of Dragon's flight systems. The spacecraft is also currently go for launch. Our NASA crew, astronauts Doug Hurley and Bob Behnken, that you can see inside the Dragon capsule on the right-hand side of the display, they are currently going through the various screens, simple checks. Their hatch is closed, suit leak checks are complete, comp checks are good. The next major event for Dragon is going to be retract of the crew access arm that you can see on the left monitor up alongside the Dragon capsule between 45 and 42 minutes before liftoff. Now, the big one right now is the range. The range is currently red for launch from historic pad 39A. Now, the air and the sea space is clear, and the worldwide network of ground stations, as well as the tracking and data relay satellites, they are ready to support Dragon as it heads into orbit. But the range is red for the weather. We recently did clear, we went green for lightning, but we are still violating several constraints. Rain, cumulus crowds, field mills, which is essentially you can tell that the atmosphere is energized around the launch site. We are expecting that we'll possibly clear that. We're going to hear a weather briefing at 1 hour with the expectation that those conditions may clear shortly afterwards and allow us to move into propellant loading. Also, we've been releasing balloons. What we're seeing at the upper altitudes is conditions look good for Falcon 9 with Dragon. No concerns have been expressed by the GNC guidance team right now. Now, as a reminder, today we have an instantaneous launch window at 4:33:35 Eastern Daylight Saving Time, or just past 33 minutes after the upcoming hour. So we get one chance at it today. But currently, T-minus 1 hour and 3 minutes, just passing 9. Dragon, our go. The range is ready to support, but now we're waiting.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Hey, yes, I hear you fine. How are you?
Yeah, good. This is good.
So I've got the video up, and I can actually put my face up there too.
Yeah.
But you can't see that because this is on. Never mind. It's okay. But I got the video up there, so.
So they're in the capsule.
Yeah, they're in the capsule, and they are basically waiting. In about 8 minutes, they're going to have a weather check, and when they have the weather check, it's either going to be go or no go, and they expect the weather's going to clear. I think they're expecting the weather to clear. That's the unofficial weather report. So they're expecting to clear shortly after this weather check. So it should be go. Yeah.
Touchscreen. God.
I know they've got 3 touch screens. They showed it from another angle, and it was a lot more impressive. I was like, "Wow, okay." It's a little bit better than what they had in the Apollo program. They had a hex display, a little tiny display.
I don't know
but
what they
like
had
6
in
buttons.
The, Mercury capsules, but
nothing basically.
Yeah,
A clock.
They went up. I think the longest one where Glenn, he went around the Earth 3 times.
Yeah.
90 minutes each circuit. We were just mesmerized. I mean, we were sitting there at the site, and of course you couldn't see anything. And
no,
we didn't communicate with them ourselves. Gene and I, the Capcom, came in from Mercury Control Center, and he was in the other room, and he was in there communicating with the astronauts, but it was being broadcast all through the site. And we were just sitting there just, God, just amazing.
Yeah, that's cool. I obviously don't remember it, but I do remember it. I mean, I remember the splashdown and some of the other things. I mean, it was very exciting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my memories of the assassination of Kennedy. Yeah. It's about the same. Vague but strong.
The thing I really remember that blew me away was Glenn when he came over. I can't remember if it was the second time when all those thousands of little lights appeared outside his window.
Yeah.
And we were just listening to that like, my God, what in the hell is this?
It was sparks. It was sparks.
Whatever it was, yeah.
From the re-entry, I think that's what they were saying.
Well, it wasn't even e-entry at that time.
It was
just
when he's going up.
Past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just going around.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're saying there's some stuff up there. I guess there's like small pieces of not just debris, but just like space particles.
Yeah.
That you'll run into periodically.
Yeah. If you ever want to hear that, I've got that. They made a tape for us. Each one of us on the site. There are about 20 or 21 of us.
Wow.
And each one of us got a tape.
Wow.
About I don't know, about like this.
Uh-huh.
And I had that in the closet forever and ever and ever in the dark, all through these years. And there was a guy here at Sun Lakes that said he could put that on DVD for me. So I took it up to him, and he did it, and I've got it on the computer.
Nice. Hello, Ginger.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
Hello, Ginger.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, well, I'm not. Your face isn't on the stream, just your voice, by the way, because I'm basically only streaming right now. I could actually do that though. Put you up here too. We have two things now. Okay, so now you're on the stream. Can you see yourself?
Yeah, little screen on the other
Yeah.
side.
Okay. Yeah, I thought you would. Okay.
Which is
see
fine.
see the little displays there. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. That's what they're.
That's what they're
looking
looking at. Yeah, they're three like touch displays.
My God.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Wow.
It's very cool. It's very. I mean, it's so much more modern than There's hardly anything there. There's a few switches. That old capsule. They just full of switches. Just 1,000 switches. They had to check go through this incredibly long procedure of flipping switches.
Yeah.
Where even through the Apollo program was the same thing. But now everything's automated, so I mean, they pretty much just have to. They have important buttons like maybe abort or something like that, but that's about it. It's very
now,
cool.
who are these?
That's the next mission. They're talking about that earlier. That Japanese guy and the other three are actually going up all together on the very next mission, which isn't too far away. It's a few weeks away. They're going to load up the space station with Americans, the American side. They're talking about have more people up there than they've had ever before.
I see George on there.
Yeah, I was just listening to the information Dave was giving us.
There you
How
go.
you guys doing?
Good. How you doing, George?
I'm doing okay.
I'm glad you joined me.
Yeah.
Us. Joined us.
Well, yeah, I was going to turn it on ABC. I guess ABC's going to cover it.
Yeah, you could do that if you want. I don't think the audio is going to come through very well.
On this?
On this, yeah. I could turn it up, but I don't know.
All right.
You won't. This is what it sounds like.
Weather has LD briefed. We're also looking at a watch item on a hydraulics QD rod ring. Ring pressure will come up at -8.
A watch item.
30 seconds, and we'll be able to verify decay rate. No concerns at this time. Everything's reading nominal, but watching that item. No other constraints on Falcon 9 or ground systems.
Is it still at a 50-50 chance of it going?
Actually, they're saying 60. Earlier, I heard 60%, but now they're almost saying it's a shoe-in because they're expecting the weather to clear just shortly after the hour before launch. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, because I was listening to the news this morning. One of the weather forecasters somewhere back there was saying that's typically what the weather does.
Yeah.
This time of year, it clears as the day goes on.
Right. So they're expecting that. So I guess that's pretty important, obviously, because they won't launch.
There's Sammy.
Sam's here too?
Morning. Yeah, good afternoon, Sam.
Happy afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Doing good. I've been watching this on their network.
Yes. I know. It's very cool. I have this.
Yes, it is.
Did you get any good details you can share with us?
About what?
I was just talking. No, I was watching it earlier too. They were talking about. I don't know. It's just it's kind of all very interesting. But they have these CRTs, the touchscreen displays up there, and that's how they control almost everything. They have a few buttons, but almost everything is on the touchscreen.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. It's very, very different.
In my mind, I'm trying to envision just these guys just sitting there waiting for this thing to launch.
Yeah, I know.
That's got to be stressful.
It does.
Well, they're not waiting. They're busy doing things.
Well,
that's true.
I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they're just sitting there, but
I was
and pushing buttons and.
I was noticing earlier that those guys were fidgeting an awful lot. The one guy was moving his feet back and forth. I guess you have to do that anyway. You keep the blood flowing. But yeah, I just noticed he seemed a little bit nervous. But I think when
he was nervous, or I was wondering how in the heck they was going to last 19 hours.
Yeah.
Before he could get there, how much twisting and turning they're going to have to do.
Yeah.
Because he kind of reminded me, I don't stand still very long.
No, I know. That would be awful to be stuck in there for 19 hours.
Yep.
Obviously can't drink anything.
They're highly trained.
Yes, they are.
Well, I noticed that they stopped for relief just before they went up the elevator.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I picked them up just as they were coming out of Tesla, going into, and then they went across and came out and got in the Tesla vehicles.
Oh, okay.
Drive out. Then when they got to the pad, their first stop was at a restroom to go in and relieve themselves or something like that. They said, but anyway,
they got it. That's convenient. They got it right there. That's a good idea.
Then they come out in the vehicles and they go from 90 degrees around to the elevators in the vehicles. They didn't walk it. They went in the vehicles.
Is that right?
They got out and went up the elevator.
Wow.
It's a lot different than the last ones.
It sure is. And actually, they were saying, I guess President Trump's going to be there. As they actually showed the airplane landing. Did you see that? Not landing, but they showed it flyby.
I saw the flyby.
Yeah, I seen it when they took off this morning.
Oh, okay, yeah, they showed it flyby with the actual rocket, and then they showed the plane flying by the rocket. It's kind of cool. And then they apparently he's the first president to watch a launch since Carter.
Clinton.
Oh, was it Clinton? Oh, they're right. You're right. It's Clinton. I'm sorry. It's still a long time ago.
Yes. He was, 98?
98, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I always get Carter and Clinton mixed up. In my mind. That's pretty funny. Definitely a different generation there.
Well, who was the first one?
The first what?
President to watch a
launch.
launch.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Of any? No, it's not.
Was it Kennedy?
Yes.
Yeah, I suppose so, huh?
That was some of their first launches to get, to whip it into shape.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, they had like 5 launches before that. Well, they had launches without people, right? Is that what you're talking about? Or?
Yeah, they used monkeys.
Yeah, monkeys and yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Did they use a dog also, George?
I'm not sure if they did or not. I can't remember that far back.
I think the Russians had a dog.
Yeah, they may have, but
I think we did monkeys.
I do remember the chimpanzees.
Yeah, chimps.
There they are punching right now.
Yeah, now they're doing something.
Yeah.
I think that's some kind of a demo there on the left side. That's.
So on the TV, this has the audio.
Do you want me to turn it up? See if I can get it.
We've learned by going through this, now there's another
It's an ad.
capability in the U.S. besides NASA to operate something of this magnitude. When is the last time humans launched on a new vehicle? Certainly on the American side, it's been several decades. Now we're in a time when we've got multiple vehicles under development. It's a great time from a space exploration time frame just to see all that happening, and it's because of this nurturing of the environment, being able to pull in a wider group of people who can contribute towards human spaceflight. It's a super cool time. On a deeply personal level, I'm really excited that my son is get a chance to see me launch into space. Being an astronaut has been a little bit of an abstraction thing for him because he's seen me do it in old videos, but he hasn't seen me do it for real. And so I'm excited for him to see this launch. I want to thank the entire Commercial Crew Program team that's worked together to get to this point where we've got vehicles in the launch pad ready to head to the International Space Station.
Sam, are you watching the Food Network on that TV behind you?
No. I was watching it when Channel 7, if they went to it, then I could go watch it on the big screen.
Okay, what's on the TV behind you?
Looks like a Food Network.
That's Channel 7?
They're showing food stuff.
ABC News, how's that?
Okay, well, it looked like the Food Network to me.
They're definitely preparing for something there.
Dave, what are you recording here? What is this a channel or?
This is actually a YouTube live stream from NASA, directly from NASA.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
In fact, I have your picture covering their logo. We don't want that. I better fix that. Let's fix that. We want the NASA logo to have. I'll put you guys up in the other corner.
Hey, Jeff?
Yeah.
Say hi to Ginger for us.
Oh, I will, yeah. She's dropping in a chicken salad sandwich.
Oh, that sounds good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got gardeners next door, but they're not making too much noise yet.
I gotta check my laundry. I'll be back shortly.
I can't believe those gardeners haven't taken care of this yet. It's awful hot out there.
Yeah,
George says hi. Here's Ginger.
Hi, Ginger. Hi. How you doing?
Good.
All right. Yeah, Dave, it's got to be close to 90, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty warm. They're saying it's going to be 97 today.
Yeah, it's pretty warm outside. I'm surprised they didn't start like early in the morning and get that stuff done.
Mm-hmm. I was out there. Had a whole bunch of crap on the side of the house. I had to cut out with my string trimmer and then break it all up.
Yeah, I went out earlier and sprayed my few weeds that I have outside with Roundup.
Yeah.
Start killing them guys off.
That's a good idea. I end up using the string trimmer for that too. The weeds in the cracks in the driveway.
Oh yeah.
Roundup works too.
All of my outside is like gravel.
Uh-huh.
So I don't have no lawn or anything like that, and it's got heavy plastic down. It's the older area that I didn't redo, or I didn't have redone. That's where they grow up through the old plastic out there. So I have to spray them with Roundup.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's a good idea. Actually, I'd like to do something like that in the backyard because I'm tired of weeding. And we don't need a backyard lawn. I mean, it's so small anyway. It's a tiny little patch. I think maybe put cactus.
That's what basically Mike Cartman has that. He's got artificial turf out to the back. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, I saw that. It's pretty good.
It makes your house very hot, though. It heats up your the temperature around your house.
Is that right? Interesting.
Yeah, the artificial turf. Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I read that.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Probably picks up the sun's rays and then transfers it to the air, huh?
Yeah, whereas
gets it hot.
on a grass yard, you don't have that.
Yeah, no, because the natural absorption of the light, through the chloroform transfer, it picks it up. It doesn't reflect it back.
Yeah.
Because anything that's not black will reflect, and unless it's something like like a plant where it's absorbing light, it's going to reflect it. kind of interesting. Yeah. Somebody was telling me that there was one big factory where they put grass on the roof. They put turf in the grass on the roof, and it created an incredible. It made an incredible increase in their thermal efficiency.
Oh wow! Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Just a question: can you move our pictures off from the side, like maybe up to the top?
Oh, I did. I just grab it and you just move it over.
Oh,
is that how you?
You can move your own picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wait a minute! I did something. I'm just showing me. Oh, there we go.
I did that. I just moved it away.
You did? Oh,
yeah.
You did that.
Now what I'm doing, unfortunately, what I'm doing is I'm projecting my screen, and that's how you get the NASA feed.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a neat picture.
So.
That's a good shot right there.
Yeah, it is a good shot. Let's turn the audio back up. Hold on.
Wow.
System on the Dragon capsule. Now, right now, the next plan for Falcon 9, T-minus 35 minutes, we will begin loading propellant on.
They're going to start loading fuel.
Now, currently, Falcon 9's looking good.
Well, I remember they get right
Dragon's
down
looking
to a
good.
few seconds and they'd abort the mission.
Oh, that would be so sucky.
Yeah, you just never know.
Because they have to pump all the nitrogen out of oxygen out of that thing again.
Wow. Is that the tower moving away from it?
Yep. That's it.
Wow.
They got a camera. Well, probably got cameras everywhere.
Boy, do they ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a hell of a shot right there.
It is a weird shot. You can't. It feels like yeah, you're moving, and that's why it's weird feeling. Can't really tell that's a rocket.
No, from that shot.
From
right
that
there,
angle, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah.
I think that other stuff goes down too. See, after this moves out of the way, the rest of that structure is going to move out of the way too, and you'll end up seeing the rocket. Yeah.
Isn't that amazing that man that owns this company did it all by himself with his own money?
I know.
God.
Actually, that's right. The way this one works, when it actually blasts off, that thing folds down. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure that's how it works. It's kind of neat.
That'll stay there till the rockets fire, and then
Right.
blow away so it can have liftoff.
Exactly.
Did you see the pictures today where they were showing the last space shuttle and this on the pad?
No, I didn't.
Sure is a difference in the rockets. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
You definitely look at it for sure there.
That space shuttle was a monster. I mean, those solid rockets were a pain in the ass. This is neat. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually witnessed a launch. I've watched a few of their other activities. It was really interesting to watch the stages land from some of their other launches, the SpaceX launches.
Oh yeah, where they hit the damn pad out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah. They can actually land, completely automated. Obviously, the first stage just lands itself. It's kind of neat.
I don't know whether it was the launch 8 or what, but my middle one, as a high school project, he was interested in astronomy and stuff, and it was a high school group throughout the United States went there and watched the launch.
Ah.
And they toured the Space Center first.
Mm-hmm.
Then they had the launch, and then they brought them all back to Edwards to watch the landing.
Oh, neat.
That was his high school trip.
Launch and landing. Oh yeah, you can see that thing's got like a grappler holding it. It's like it's got robot arms. Robot arms. With it looks hydraulic.
Release it, and that sucker will come right straight up.
Yeah, you can see it's hydraulics. It's meant to move fast.
Yeah.
That's
it
all.
was raining earlier, pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was raining pretty good. They had a lot of bugs too in the picture. I noticed earlier.
True.
I think it's.
That's the humidity back there.
Yeah.
Gotta be loaded with bugs.
Yeah, it was insane. I was looking. I said, "What's all that sparkly?" And then I realized that you could see like a moth every once in a while. It's like, oh yeah, those are all bugs. That's Florida for you.
Now that walk across that they used to go to the to get into the capsule,
Yeah.
255 feet off the ground.
Wow.
Then they had to climb the stairs for the last 10 feet. Now here's a gal explaining everything.
Let's see. I'll turn it up.
To be the safest launch vehicle ever flown. And joining us today, we have SpaceX's Nick Pacone, who was our mission manager for our in-flight abort mission earlier this year and currently works on the Starlink team. Thanks for joining us, Nick.
Audio is off.
I'm here at the Launch and Landing Recovery Center with the recovery team and our Dragon ground operations team monitoring the launch.
Awesome. Can you tell us more about the critical safety features on this new version of Dragon?
I don't know why it's...
Sure. So Dragon 2 was designed with long-term reuse and reliability in mind. So fundamentally, there are multiple layers of redundancy to any of the failure modes that we could conceive of, that NASA could conceive of when we were working to design and test this vehicle over the past few years. But in the event that we encounter an unforeseen failure mode or multiple failures which push us outside of our design space, Dragon also has backup systems and operational controls intended to keep Bob and Doug safe. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it today, but the launch escape system is the primary backup system that we have from the moment that the vehicle is here on being fueled all the way up until orbital insertion. At a high level, the launch escape system, in the event of a major Falcon anomaly or emergency, will terminate Falcon thrust, separate Dragon from Falcon, and it'll use Dragon's 8 Super Draco engines to quickly pull the vehicle away from any kind of Falcon anomaly.
And you talked a lot about the launch escape system. How exactly is that activated? Is it autonomous? Is it manually activated?
Definitely. So for this system to work as designed, you have to remember that the vehicle could be flying at hundreds or thousands of miles an hour through the lower atmosphere. So it's really important that it's extremely fast and highly reliable with very low chance of false positives. The launch escape system fundamentally is set to look at a set of pre-programmed criteria which are on board the vehicle. Dragon and Falcon are looking at high rate telemetry, looking for abnormal vehicle dynamics, loss of communication between critical systems, or manual commanding. Our launch director and chief engineer, who you've heard a lot from today, are capable of sending a manual command to Dragon to initiate a launch escape, and Bob and Doug are also always able to actuate the launch escape handle and initiate a launch escape themselves as well. Now that the system is armed, all of this is currently active on the vehicle.
Wow, it sounds like there's a lot that goes into it. And we did have an in-flight abort test earlier this year to test this out. Can you tell us what we learned from that test?
Fix this.
Definitely. It was possibly the most flight-like test of an orbital-class booster in history. It was a fully flight-like test using a full Falcon 9 rocket, which we had to knowingly destroy in order to get this fully integrated system. For folks who didn't get a chance to see it, the vehicle followed a normal crew launch trajectory. About a minute and a half into flight, we had Dragon autonomously trigger the launch escape system based on a reconfiguration of those triggers that I was just talking about. And thankfully, we had we continued through flight, had a successful parachute deployment and splashdown, and we did see Falcon rather spectacularly blow up about 10 seconds after separation. It's important to recognize that all of that happens from command to actual separation of the vehicle in under half a second.
Wow, yeah, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Nick, for joining us and talking through the...
I'm going to try to see if I can fix this lip sync problem. It's kind of annoying me. Hold on. Let's refresh. Back to Laura. Full screen. Okay. See if it's better. 36 minutes.
Hey, Marie and Lauren, I am getting goosebumps over here. It's just an exciting moment. When I was sitting in the vehicle, when we retracted everything, when all the prop was getting loaded up, I was just going through my crew notebook. I was thinking about, what my first step would be if there was a malfunction, because usually everything goes nominally when you fly to space, but you have to think about the things that you have to take care of, the first steps you have to take care of. And on my mission, I was calling out the abort calls, like if we had lost an engine, where would we go next, when the different abort calls around the country and around the world. So I think that's what those guys are probably thinking about now, and just really getting ready for this this mission to go off.
Absolutely, and we're just now about 20 seconds from when we expect propellant loading to start. Again, that's fueling of the rocket.
Fuel's 35 minutes till
All
launch.
right, we're getting close. We should hear that call out any second now on the nets. So let's listen in.
They call it the nets.
Propellant load has started.
Fantastic. So prop load has started. We've started loading liquid oxygen on stage 1 and stage 2. And yeah, liquid oxygen and RP1, which is our rocket grade kerosene. So now that we are 34 minutes and 42 seconds away from the first launch of astronauts into orbit from American soil since 2011, we know that the launch escape system is armed, which happened just before fueling. Dragon prop load happened weeks ago, actually just a few miles down the road at what we call Dragonland. And those propellants, which are MMH or monomethyl hydrogen, that's our fuel, and NTO or nitrogen tetroxide, that's our oxidizer. Those not only feed the Draco engines that propel Dragon on orbit, but they also supply those 8 Super Draco engines of the launch escape system.
Jeez,
So
it's complicated.
Right here, a little model. Oh, it doesn't come off the stand.
Don't break it, Lauren.
All right, it's very nice. So as you can see, the Dragon is actually broken up into 4 quads, and each quad has 2 of the Super Draco engines for a total of 8 of them. And as I mentioned, they are biprop engines. They have MMH and NTO as their oxidizer. Now, most abort systems from past space vehicles, I believe like Soyuz, Mercury, Apollo, they all had a pointy escape tower on top, where there was essentially like a mini rocket engine or a series of rocket engines on top. And if they weren't used, that escape tower would have to jettison itself from the vehicle. If it was used, it would be used to lift the vehicle off of the rocket. Well, Dragon is a little bit different in that its escape system is actually integrated into the vehicle, and that's great for a couple of reasons. One less thing you have to jettison on a nominal flight, and so they're pretty dormant, just those throttle valves open unless they're used, and hopefully they never have to be. And yeah, I mean, the other thing that offers you is the ability to escape from the pad all the way to orbit. Because if you jettisoned your escape system prior to that, you couldn't. So yeah, that's a little Dragon there.
Again,
Right.
new era, much safer design.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for walking us through that, Lauren. Again, the launch escape system is armed. That protects Bob and Doug so that if something were to go wrong, they can shoot off of the pad away from the rocket and parachute to safety in the ocean. That is such a crucial safety capability. And so now we want to go over to Hawthorne for an operational update with John.
Thanks, Marie. We are counting down those final minutes. Everything is still looking good on the Falcon 9 and the Dragon vehicles for an on-time launch, but weather is trending the wrong way right now.
Uh-oh.
We're keeping our ears open in case we hear that the weather is going to be no-go for the rest of the count. Right now, we are counting down at T-minus 32 minutes.
Stage 1 locks and
Falcon 9
RP1
did
fluorids
begin
are normal.
propellant load at T-minus 35 minutes, right on time. The propellants we use on Falcon 9 are a fuel, which is rocket-grade kerosene, also called RP1, refined petroleum. We use an oxidizer, and that's the super chilled liquid oxygen, or LOX as we call it. Those two propellants come together, but they don't light, so we need an ignition source to complete the fire triangle. For this, Falcon 9 uses a fluid called T-tub. You might see that just before first stage ignition, or maybe later in the second stage ignition. You get a green colored flame as the T-tub comes out into the oxygen, and that ignites the main engines right before the rocket takes off or the second stage engine lights. Now currently in the fueling, RP1 fuel is about 10% full on the first stage. That's the bottom 2/3 of the stack of the vehicle you can see on the left. The first stage is that long white cylinder at the bottom plus that black cylinder called the inner stage. That's the entire first stage that we're loading with LOX and RP1 kerosene. That's the part that comes back to Earth. The second stage just above it, the white cylinder, and then above that will be the Dragon trunk and the capsule. Now currently the second stage is also loading fuel with RP1. That's about 8% full right now. We are loading liquid oxygen on the first stage. The second stage liquid oxygen load will begin at T-minus 16.5 minutes if the weather cooperates. So LOX loading will then continue on both the first and the second stage until the last few minutes of the countdown. Helium loading is also underway into pressure vessels on the second stage. We use that to pressurize the tanks in flight as the propellant is being pulled out by the Merlin turbo pumps. Dragon on board the spacecraft. You can see the astronauts are.
They said the weather is not cooperating apparently. Hopefully they're not going to put it on hold.
And when we flew,
It'd be our luck, Dave.
Yeah, I know.
Watch all this, and then they scrub the nuisance.
It really, you know, you feel disappointed, but think how disappointed the guys in the spacesuits are.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They gotta go do this all over.
Exactly.
what they're experiencing now. I'm stopping and listening to some discussion.
They probably just put a hold on it for a while.
Trying to track where we are
Yeah,
with
depending
the
on what the
criteria.
weather situation is.
Yeah.
We're passing another weather gate right now.
Uh-oh.
Trying to
So
see
what
whether
you
or
can
not
do
conditions
is
are good.
go to
in certain situations, when the weather is no good, you have to wait
NASA.org/special
30 minutes
and you
and
can
we're
watch
not
this
inside
right
of
on your
30 minutes.
computer.
That's what we're doing.
That's where Dave has it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because I've been watching it since before noon. I mean,
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
Yeah, but I thought the watch party was a good idea. That way we can all BS with each other.
Exactly. That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
It is. No, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, if it gets cut off.
Yeah, it was good. My friend from Simi Valley had to go over to Beaumont this morning, so we met for coffee at McDonald's, keeping our social distancing, mind you.
Right.
McDonald's is going to open their dining room on the 1st of June.
Did they have an outside eating area?
No. The one over in Calamasa does not have outside seating area.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was wondering if they kept those open or not.
Yeah, the one in Calamasa is open.
Just for dry.
Walk in and order food, but
Oh.
you gotta take it out.
You can't eat there. I got you. Okay.
Yeah, you can't eat inside.
Good. I'm on the website that Dave has right now on the computer.
Just on the
watching,
computer.
The liftoff, hopefully, at 28 minutes and to go.
Was that Flip?
Oh, well, happy birthday. Yeah, I will do that. I'll give you an early. You gonna watch the liftoff? I sent an email out earlier. It's got a link.
If you want to do
click
the
on
Zoom,
link and,
we're doing a
there's
Zoom
all of
meeting.
us on there right now. Myself, George, Sam, and Dave, and got good pictures. One of the two astronauts in the cabin, and another one on the left-hand side that's showing other information. Well, you actually worked for the same company, huh? Yeah, I worked for Bendix back in 61 to 63. In the tracking station on Canton, we tracked the Mercury astronauts.
I figured Jeff would be down in San Diego when you.
Yeah.
Not Jeff, but Flip.
Yeah. I should turn on my. I guess you guys are on the repeater probably. I turned up the ham radio.
Okay, Flip, 73, and happy birthday again, too. And check it out on the computer. Click that link.
Click the link.
Roger that. We'll do it. Thanks, Jeff. K6WL will be cleared.
Okay, kill the radio.
I was just talking to Flip on banning repeater.
Yeah, we heard you.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I turn this down a little bit.
It's,
Okay.
happy birthday.
It's his birthday. That's cool.
Larry needs to open up his computer audio.
Approach the station and then stop so a crew member can maneuver the station's robotic arm to capture the spacecraft. Docking on this version of Dragon
I
can
turned
be
it
done
up.
autonomously with no crew aboard the station.
It's typically a faster process, both when arriving and leaving, but it does still require pinpoint accuracy to approach safely.
Once captured, a spacecraft then gets attached to a common berthing mechanism. It's the same type of port that we use to connect each of the modules together on board station. It's a little bit slower process than docking, but the hatches are significantly larger than docking ports, which makes them perfect for bringing up large cargo items.
Dragon will spend up to 120 days docked before preparing to return home. Following successful completion of Dragon's test objectives and cargo loading operations, the crew will close out the cabin, perform final system checks, and configure the vehicle for undocking. Once the automated undocking sequence is complete, Dragon will complete 2 departure burns using its Draco engines, pushing it away from the space station.
And then after Dragon departs the station, it's ready for its trip home. And that'll have deorbit entry and landing, and a number of other operations. If you're looking at this animation, it might
Right. That would make sense.
just a little bit quicker.
They can theoretically fly it from right there.
Oh yeah, yeah. They could probably fly it from any of the 3 monitors.
But ground can take control if they need to.
Right.
Deploying drogue and then
Yep.
main parachutes, and then finally splashing down off the Florida coast. At which team
It's interesting how they have that
will move in, get out
kind of a slice in the nose there, that not even line, you know. I don't know what that is. Is it paint or what that is?
Well, doesn't that have to come off so they can
Oh,
dock?
maybe that's it. Maybe that's part of the securing system or something.
Seconds from the first launch of astronauts to the International Space Station from U.S. soil in 9
Hey, George, if you're not good, we're going to put you at the end of that walkway out there.
That is never going to happen. Never. I see that water tower, whatever it is, off
Yeah.
to my right of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't even get to the first set of braces there, bud.
Okay.
Oops. Oh, it sounded like Larry.
Yeah, I finally figured out on the phone how to activate the microphone.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon, Dave. Yeah, I got it on, ready for it to go. Let's hope it's a go without any cancellation.
Yeah, or delays. Yeah.
That's true. Good idea today, by the way.
Oh, no problem. Somebody said it. Yes, talked about it during our board meeting. Somebody mentioned it. Actually, it was before the board meeting. Anyway.
Yeah, we talked about it at our donut and coffee.
Yeah, the donut and coffee. That's right. And so I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just do that. We'll have a launch party.
Well,
So
good.
yeah.
Give us something to do. Yep,
Exactly.
I got it off the TV. I got to go back. How did I get that off?
We got
Two things going at one time, Dave.
we got a good picture of your television, Larry.
Go on, Dave. You're not that old, Larry. Go ahead. You do it.
Oh, I'm getting down old, I'll tell you. Easy to do. Well, I got something out here. I guess I'll just have to.
always says weather. It's that thing that everybody
Oh.
talks about.
Okay, we'll get it. Okay, go ahead if you're talking, Dave. I'll just sit in the background here.
I'm gonna turn up the feed volume. Yeah.
She's going to tell us if we can go or not today.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, if it happens, I mean, look at it this way. Bob and Doug got one really great rehearsal in, right?
It's always best to practice and practice and practice. Yes.
It does look pretty
So
grim.
again, we're less than 2 minutes now from
I'm watching the NASA feed from the internet.
Bob and Doug,
Okay,
and
I
we
got
will
it
quiet
on
down
Fox
so you can
and
listen to that,
Discovery.
because I know we can't wait to find out what that is, and those of you watching that have been following along, we are eagerly awaiting to hear whether the weather is going to be a showstopper today.
We're waiting to hear. Oh, somebody's idea.
These clouds can seem really deceiving at times, right? You see the blue skies peeking through and you think everything's fine, but you just don't know. That's why we have those launch weather officers.
Absolutely, and I know, we've talked about it before, but it's not just the weather in Florida that they're looking at. They've got to look at weather downrange. If they were to have an abort in flight and they needed to come down somewhere in the ocean, they need to consider what the weather's like out there, because recovery teams have to go out and get them in a situation like that. So there's so many variables, and that's why not just with this flight, but with every human space flight we've had in the past, there's always a very good chance of a scrub because you do have so much criteria that you have to meet. And we're going to listen in now. We're just seconds away from a weather update.
Stage 2, RP1 load complete.
Oh, they got some of the fuel loaded up there. Oh, look at the liquid oxygen obviously causing a cloud there.
That is liquid oxygen you see venting off the rocket. That's completely normal and expected. We're standing by for a weather update.
Unless you can give us another 10 minutes, I don't think we're going to get there with any of the rules today.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to give you 10 minutes. I mean, another 10 minutes past T0. 16:45 local. I think we'll probably be clear on all the rules, but not quite going to make it for this.
They're not going to make it for the launch window.
We're going to check back in with you about.
You're not going to make it.
Doesn't sound like it.
About 17 minutes. Okay. Yeah, there's some of them are starting to count down, but we still have one above 2,000. So if that gets below.
Don't know. They don't know what to say now.
Someone's got to make a decision.
And that didn't sound great right there. That was the weather net going out, but we're still standing by for a final decision.
We're going to continue to listen in for an update, but in the meantime, we're going to go over to John Innsbrucker at SpaceX headquarters in California. John?
And Dragon SpaceX on weather, we're still
T-minus 18 minutes and counting. We are still right on weather.
And we're going to continue to listen in for an update, but in the meantime, we're going to go over to John Innsbrucker at SpaceX headquarters in California. John?
And Dragon SpaceX on weather, we're still not
T-minus 18 minutes and counting.
LD is
We are still right
in some
on weather.
discussions. Expect an update from LD.
We're waiting in about another minute for one final check with weather. We're going to check at T-minus 17 minutes possibly. We don't really expect that things will have improved. The weather officer was not optimistic that the weather would clear up that rapidly. We did hear the launch director, Mike Taylor, joke that if we could move 10 more minutes past the T0, weather conditions may improve, but Mike was not able to do that. We have an instantaneous window today. So at 17 minutes, we want to make that call because shortly after that, we will begin loading liquid oxygen onto the second stage. So if we're not going to have the opportunity to launch, if the clock's going to run out, stand by.
Continue to violate a couple different weather rules that we now do not expect to clear in time to allow for a launch today. And today's launch is
Not good.
Good. And the launch auto sequence and proceed into launch abort auto sequence. Launch abort has started.
Launch abort. Process started.
Dragon SpaceX, unfortunately, we are not going to launch today. You are go for 5.100 launch scope.
Has called a scrub for the day.
5.100, it was a good effort by the teams, and we understand, and we'll meet you there.
Oh, that's a drag.
We've heard.
Well,
Did they say it's scrubbed?
yeah, it's scrubbed for today. They're doing the abort right now. They don't.
Right.
There's no windows, so they can't do a delay. So they're just doing an abort. Yeah.
Oh, well, let's hope they do it here a couple of days.
Yep.
Dave, I won't be able to check in tonight. You want to give me a early because I'll be over at my lady friend's house and I don't have a good enough radio down there.
Jeff, don't you have one already?
Yeah, I'll get him.
You get them for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Larry. We'll give you an early. No problem.
It'll cost Larry 500 points.
500 points for.
Okay, take 500 points.
You'll never earn your mug now. Okay.
All right.
All right,
See
Larry.
you guys on the meeting tomorrow night.
Okay. See you tomorrow. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. Stop looking at Larry's feet.
Yeah. I noticed that. His stocking feet.
I even took the picture off the feed because it was he also had the most annoying sound. We were hearing everything.
Yeah.
Here's TV. I had to mute the sound.
TV and all. And I was going to have you mute me for a couple of minutes while I do my paper shredding here, but no need now.
No need now. I think we're going to call it a day. We'll do is, next time it happens, we'll do it again.
Yeah, it looks like from what I heard this morning, and I could be wrong, that their next window is in the weekend.
Okay. Well, either way, I'm usually around.
Well, Dave, it was a good attempt, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun, George. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, no problem. Everybody have a good one.
You
Talk
too.
to you later.
Take care, man. Okay.
Yeah, you're coming in good. What's your call sign again? I'm Kilo Bravo 6 Charlie Alpha. Kilo 6 Mike Sierra Sierra. Kilo 6 Mike
Sierra. MSS.
73. It's a little hot, so I'm going to go back inside. Thank you so much for the signal report, sir. Yeah, you're welcome. And this is Jeff, Kilo Bravo 6 Charlie Alpha, and I will be monitoring.
Okay, Jeff, we're going to call it a day. The launch was an abort. Oops, maybe I unmuted something wrong.
Going through.
Yeah, they aborted the launch. Did you hear that, Jeff?
Yeah, I did. Who is that Kilo Mike?
Oh, that's the new guy. He's on the roll call.
KK6 EMSS.
Yeah, he's in Sun Lakes. That's the guy that's in Sun Lakes.
See, I don't have him on the roll call yet. I've got.
He's on the list in the visitor. I'm pretty sure. He's a visitor for the last couple weeks.
Okay, I have to look him up. Yeah, we got Michael KM6RRS.
Oh, okay. So, what was his call sign?
This one is Kilo 6 Mike Sierra Sierra.
MSS.
Yeah, I've heard him before.
So he's got the same suffix as Ron.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I know he's checked in the net before because I remember that.
Yeah, I remember the call sign.
Okay, well, make sure to put him on a visitor thing then, maybe when you have a chance.
Yeah,
I'll go ahead and, I don't know, he's probably planning on checking in. They got the repeater working anyway, that's good.
Hey, Jeff?
Yeah.
What's your neighbor's call that just is going to join up?
I'm sorry, Sam, say again.
What's your neighbor, the ham that just moved in from Rancho Cucamonga? What's his call sign?
Oh, that's Michael. That's Kilo Mike 6 Romeo Sierra.
RRS.
Yeah. The double that I remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two are kind of similar.
Yeah.
Although Kilo Mike is newer than Kilo.
Let's see, I'm going to check them out here.
They're both pretty new call signs within the last couple of years. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and call this a day, and we'll just have to do this again when they actually do launch.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Thanks for doing it, Dave.
No,
Dave.
no
Good
problem.
job.
No problem. Take care, guys.
Yeah.
I'll close this out. End meeting for all. And closing this out too. Yeah. Bye, guys.